The history year has been a lively one for hurricanes. Down there were 17 mentioned storms in 2017, 10 hurricanes and 6 main hurricanes, class 3 or high, an overordinary year in every honor. The 10 hurricanes shaped sequentially, out of weaker tropic storms breaking the succession. The just some period that has been written was in 1893. Are these storms received worst? And does environment changing include whatever to do in it? The Atlantic storm time of year has been especially poor. It driven the greatest sum of rainfall on recording of any tropic framework, 539 mm. It inflicted the kind of flood thou'd wait to see one day each 500 year, challenging $200 billion of harm to Houston, Texas. Sarcastically, there was the tertiary such a each 500 year flooding Houston had incurred in 3 year. Such winds were supported for 37 several hours, much longer rather than any tropic framework on recording, everywhere in the planet. In spite the 2017 wasn't the lowest year in several key respects. It didn't make the powerful tempest, how was Storm Elena in 1980, in supported winds of 190 mph. Nor did it include the big quantity of storms, how was 2005, that saw an unbelievable 28 mentioned storms, consisting 7 main hurricanes. One of them was the shameful Storm Katrina. But 2017 was perhaps the costliest. Estimates for the price of the storm time of year differ and go on to be fixed, range up to $385 billion. It has surely been a bad year. But above period, are hurricanes receive worst? Down there include been 33 of the powerful Class 5 hurricanes with 1924. 11 of these include occurred in the history 14 year. We aware how hurricanes are given by hot seas and above the history 100-year world ordinary sea temperature include rising by on 1 C. But while you see at the full force of storms in every year with the counting records began, several year are more than scary rather than other. Meteorologists use thing named gained storm power, Trump, to compute the full breeze force of all the storms in any taking into account year. As you can see of the next diagram, down there's no precise upwards tendency. Why no? Although seas are receive heating pad, some factors can hinder hurricanes shaping in special year. But one of the large weather ironies is how hurricanes loathe powerful winds. Powerful winds in the Atlantic hinder in the circulating of air via a evolving tempest. This stops the tempest increasing in a storm. For a event named El Niño, the silent sea close the equator gets heating pad rather than normal. The affects world breeze patterns, guideline to much stronger winds in the Atlantic. How tool El Niño year tend to be peaceful year for hurricanes. But while the silent is radiator, named as La Nina, the inverse is real, manufacturing it facilitating for hurricanes to shape. And 2017 is a La Nina year. In reality, the full tempest force in La Nina year has been growing 10 years by 10 years. Top winds are fair portion of the history. Environment changing affects storm change of seasons in some ways, too much. Precipitation events for hurricanes can be destructive. Storm Harvey would include driven harsh flood to Houston independently of environment changing. But it is sensible to suppose how Harvey driven more than rainfall rather than it would include made 100 year back. World air temperature include as well enlarged by on 1 C in the history 100 year, and heating pad air holds more than water supply. How's potential to be over the growing rate of excess precipitation events seen in the U.S. in latter many decades. But the position of habitation mixed the harm. Houston's people has more than rather than dual with 1960 to more than rather than 2 millionth human beings. Habitation developments are expansion in more than limit, hardly drained earth. The puts more than human beings in damages path. Environment changing is as well challenging seas to growth. Smelting glaciers and earth-based ice sheets promote to high sea levels. As well heating pad water supply occupies a greater amount. So as seas hot up, sea levels growth. In the U.S., the greatest ocean level growth is about the shore of the Bay of Mexico, on every year at Eugene Isle, Louisiana. All of these growing exploit to flood while hurricanes and their related tempest splash achieve Earth. A heating pet planet is earning us a more quantity of hurricanes and a more hazard of a storm proper, the largest strong class 5. Down there's an enlarged hazard of flooding harm, if associated to environment changing, growing sea levels or more than human beings driving in flooding prone areas.